everyone. Welcome to Teaching Moment Tuesday. I've been a bit under the weather, which is why I've sort of been hiding away, but I'm back and I have just a little lesson today. I keep calling them little lessons, but then I keep rabbiting on, so I'm going to try and make this one short and sweet. As you know, on Teaching Moment Tuesdays, we're looking at Howard Gardner and the multiple intelligences. And today I wanted to talk about naturalist intelligence, being nature smart. And let me tell you, this absolutely is an intelligence, and it is not one that I possess. I have to work really hard at my nature. I love it. I appreciate it. Love plants. I love animals. I struggle to have a natural affinity with them. I have to work really hard at understanding how to care for them, how to look after them, how to tell them apart. I couldn't tell you what this plant was called. Pretty sure it's a succulent of some kind. However, we're not here to talk about my intelligence. We're here to talk about natural intelligence. So I do love to surround myself with greenery, little bits and pieces behind me, and also my Betty boy. He's not green, but he is an animal, and that's all the stuff that having a naturalist intelligence encompasses. Someone who has a strength in naturalist intelligence, or who is nature smart, they are really sensitive to nature and to the world around us. And what I have learned with a little bit more research is it's not just the environment, it's any environment. So people who are having this intelligence are very good at sorting and categorizing elements in their space. So it might not be about plants and trees and animals, it might be about other things in the space around them that they are particularly good at manipulating. And I thought that was really interesting. Really interested in growing plants, taking care of animals, studying plants, studying animals. And if you have one in the classroom, they are the ones who are going to put their hand up for, can I look after the classroom pet? Can I look after the classroom plant? And you should encourage that if you're a teacher. If you're an adult at home and you know that this is your kid who yearns to be outdoors and yearns to get involved in amongst all this kind of stuff, absolutely support it, because it's such a wonderful way for them to learn. I have just got a few little notes here. Being nature smart means that you're really able to identify and classify patterns in nature, and that's something that I simply cannot do. I would have to do some pretty rigorous learning and studying in able to do that. People who have this intelligence tend to, sure, they still have to learn it, but it comes to them a lot easier. And it's because they've just sort of got that, I guess, almost a gift for it. It's just like it's part of them. It's incredible to see in action. There's a boy that I teach sometimes, and there was a flock of some amazing bird, which again I appreciated as it flew above us. And he was just able to yell out, "Oh, that's the so-and-so, McSo-and-so." And I said, "Really? How did you know that?" And he said, "Oh, you can tell by the red tail or something." I honestly forget. But he knew in an instant. He could see that flock of birds and just go, bang, it's one of those. Whereas to me, it was a blackbird. That could have been any number of blackbirds. So there's definitely something going on there. They are able also to learn more effectively, I believe, outdoors, in the context of outdoors. So again, as a teacher, get outside as often as you can, or introduce the natural environment into your lessons as much as you can, because that is going to pique their interest. And this is something else I saw in action. I was teaching HAS, and we were doing the difference between laws and rules. And we had a bit of a learning session where we looked at the tiers of government. So we had, local government, state government, federal government, and these guys look after this part of society and all of that kind of information. And at the very end, up goes the hand, same boy. "I like the local and state government best." "Oh, why's that?" "Because they look after the environment and the trees and the plants and the animals." And I was just taken back, because I thought of all the information that had just been imparted, his mind and focus and concentration went straight to that, because that's what he knows and what he loves and what piqued his interest. And to me, that was a real example of naturalist intelligence in action. As you know, I use my Gardners for my spelling. So some examples, if you're learning some spelling words, go out and collect some leaves and spell your words out using leaves or twigs or even pebbles and rocks you can do. Another one which is really fun, and every school has a sand pit, grab a stick and write your words out in the sand. Also, I would recommend a little bit of water, as you probably know from being down at the beach. Wet sand, easier to write in, it's more easier to see, so I would go for that. A slightly higher order thinking one would be writing a haiku. Haikus by their nature are meant to be written about nature. The Japanese poem, we tend to get stuck on the syllable patterning of it. So the first line has 5 syllables, then 7, and then 5. It's a challenge to use your spelling words to write a haiku and to also make it about nature. So that's quite a challenging one. This one's interesting because it's quite visual as well, and it's about forming a word. So looking at shapes of trees, birds, natural landscape shapes, and seeing if you can see the words in those shapes, so the way the letters are formed. That one's quite interesting. It literally says, look outside at nature to find things that form the letters of the week's spelling words and draw them on paper. That one's very interpretive. Noisy animal. This one is, think of an animal and the noise it makes. Is that noise from your spelling? So for example, a cow says moo. Maybe you have the word movement, something like that. It's just a way, again, of associating that part of the world with the learning that's going on. People who have natural smarts, who are nature smart, they're our zookeepers, our biologists, our gardeners, our vets. They're Steve Irwin, you know? It's those kind of folk who really shine because they get behind their naturalist intelligence and work with it, and it's just beautiful to see in action. And I just wanted to add, I find this really interesting. Howard Gardner actually added naturalistic intelligence. I keep calling it naturalist. I've been saying it wrong the whole time. Naturalistic intelligence. 23 years after he wrote Frames of Mind. So at the beginning there were 7 intelligences. He added this one 23 years later, and then went on to add another one, which we'll talk about in a few weeks. So yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I wonder if you've seen it in action. Are you someone who has a naturalistic intelligence? If so, tell me. How? Why? What is it that you do in your day-to-day life that makes you think, oh, that's definitely my strength? I would love to know. All right. It's so good to be back in front of the camera. And when I say camera, I mean my iPhone. And I'll catch up with you guys. I'll see you tomorrow for What Makes You Say That Wednesday. See you. Bye.